Well, good morning all. It is British Flowers Week. Who knew? Well, I discovered this morning. And so there are lots of reasons I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But first of all, I'm irritated. I did a live at 5 on Instagram last evening, and normally I post the lives after they happen onto my Instagram grid so that people can catch up later. And yesterday's disappeared off the face of the earth, and despite our various, my colleague Nicola and I's jiggling around, we still haven't managed to post it to the grid. So she said, because she's no fool, oh, but I downloaded it to my phone, so we could always put it on YouTube. And I thought, well, we could, yes. But then I realised, of course, Instagram, everything is portrait, YouTube, everything is landscape. And I thought, I was so irritated by then, I thought, stuff it. I will do it again. And the live was about everything that's in flower here at Common Farm. At the moment, it is today, the 10th of June, Friday. And I thought I did a live about everything that I cut at this time of year. And I just took everything through. So I thought I'd do it again. So welcome to the Instagrammers who are joining us from the other side, to all of you YouTubers, nearly 8,000 of you. What did that happen? That's amazing. Thank you. I love a YouTube subscriber. It's a whole new thing, YouTube, still for me. I'm an old social media enthusiast. Started off on Twitter, moved on to Instagram, have always found Facebook quite boring. I do TikTok because otherwise somebody will take my name and do TikTok. But YouTube's been really fun and I'm really enjoying it. So thank you very much, all you 7.8 thousand subscribers, and welcome to the newbies as you join in. So this is what we are cutting. The beginning of the second week of June, 2022, here at Common Farm Flowers. It is worth remembering that I am the client. So I'm a flower farmer. Here I am being a flower farmer, and I grow what my client wants. And here I am the client. So I take everything that this grower grows. If you are growing flowers for sale, please do grow flowers which are more valuable than some of the stems which I will show you, because you will make a better living out of it. If, however, you are a florist, it is possible that some of the things I'm going to show you are very hard to find, to buy, because they're not terribly valuable, but they add that kind of life and wild feel to bouquets and make them look less formal. And so if I were a florist and I had a garden, I might grow some of the less valuable things to back up the material that I can buy from market. And if I were a grower, I would not sell any buttercups, for example, because I don't know whether you're going to be paid enough per stem for them. So every time I add a stem, I'm going to talk about value. And we're going to make a lovely big bouquet. We've got quite a lot of material, and there's going to be one of everything in this bouquet, so it's going to be a really mad bouquet. So first of all, what have I got growing in my tunnel? Well, in my tunnel, the phone's ringing. I expect it's my father. He has dementia, and I shouldn't say that. And he rings often to check the phone's working. Anyway, I'm not answering that. So I'm starting off with some Buplurum rotundifolium. This is an annual I grow to my tunnel. Once you have got it, it will seed itself everywhere and keep going. It makes very nice green flower if you don't have much greenery. I then have poppy seed heads. I grow a lot of poppies for their seed heads more than for the flowers, because the flowers don't last very long in water, but the seed heads last really nicely for a long time. Also growing in my tunnel right now, this moment, is a lot of Lavatera. Some people call this Lavatera. It is a tree mallow, annual tree mallow, and I am very fond of it. and I grow it in my tunnel, and then I have a successional sowing of it outside. I have larkspur in the tunnel, lots and lots of larkspur. It seeds itself around, and I use it year on year. I also have outside, it's been a really good year for foxgloves. If you're growing foxgloves for sale, they are good, valuable things to sell. However, be careful, because of course they're poisonous, and you wouldn't want any children or food to be near a foxglove. This is the first of the salvias that I'm cutting. This is a very ordinary one. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head because my mind is like a sieve. But this is about the most easy salvia in the world to find. Lovely long stem. I'm growing this outside. Sweet William, obviously, this time of year is a great cut flower. I grow a variety called Auricular-eyed Mix. And this pink one is in the Auricular-eyed Mix. But if I go over here, I can show you why it's called auricular. You see, it's got an auricular look about it. I'll put you back in that bucket. And I have quite a lot of that. I think it's easy to grow, and if you were a florist, a flower grower and wanted to grow flowers for sale, I would definitely consider Sweet William. Just remember, it's very easy to grow, and so it's inexpensive. You're not going to make a fortune out of it. This is Amimagus. I grow umbellifers to flower all through the season because I like a bit of lace in my mix. Amimagus will sell nicely because it doesn't travel well out of water. And so as a local florist growing local flowers for as a local grower growing local flowers for local florists, Amimagus should do you nicely. It goes over in a heartbeat, so you need to be able to sell it all as soon as it's in flower. Sweet peas for June, obviously. We live in temperate southwest England, where we're zone 8, 9, which I hate the American zoning system. If you watch my previous video, you'll see why. Sweet peas like it when the differential of temperature between night and day is not too extreme. They like to keep their feet nice and wet. They like lots of moisture, and they like to be fed frequently. Then they would do well for you. They are fussier than you might think. Next in my mix, I have, of course, the last of the peonies. This is Duchess De Namur. She has the most gorgeous scent. I'm not an enormous peony grower. If I were growing flowers for sale at the end of May, June, I am. Then I might, but if I were planning a cut flower garden, I might seriously consider putting in a lot of peonies because per stem they're valuable. My next one is all hooked into here, so it's going to be tough to get it out. This beautiful number, ready, steady, I'm hoiking it out, ruining everything else at the same time. This is Vicaria Hispanica, which I grow really for wedding work. It's a really lovely, light, feathery look, but surprisingly long, strong stems. It goes over in a heartbeat. It's very like a Gypsophila Covent Garden, for example, but a better colour, more useful, well, different colour. And I use it a lot at this time of year. What have I pulled out? Of course, I've pulled out mint. This is apple mint. I grow many different kinds of mint. Apple mint, not many, 3 or 4. Apple, chocolate, and variegated pineapple, all of which I use very often and are extremely useful in my floristry. Also nice in floristry at this time of year is Alchemilla mollis. Be careful cutting it in sunlight or you will end up with, look, here we go, blisters on your arms where you might have an allergic reaction with the sap on your skin with the sun. Let's have a bit more of the, but a bit more buplurum as we go. Moving on, here we have lovely toad flax. This, I love this spike, and so do the bees. It comes in a pale pink and a purple. I wouldn't call it a valuable one to grow for florists, but as a florist myself, I find it valuable. So I wouldn't be able to buy it if I were you, if I were growing it. I wouldn't grow it for sale, but if I were a florist, I would grow it to use in my floristry. Feverfew, love it. Actually surprisingly good to sell to florists, although sometimes people are very snooty about it. It's got a sort of bitter scent to it, but as a daisy shape to go through the summer, it's very useful. Mine seeds itself everywhere and I use it a great deal. From the tunnel again, I have a patch of Cineraria in my tunnel. If you are American, you'll probably call this Dusty Miller. And at the moment it's just coming into flower, and I don't cut it when it's flowering because the flowers are quite a sharp yellow, but I do cut it when it's silvery because it's very pretty. A silver really shows up in the mix. Moving on, we have this is a wildflower that does very well around here called Campion, and again lovely to wild up your bouquets, but not one that you're going to sell for a great deal of money. This one, on the other hand, you might sell. Sorry, I'm going to just have this. This is, you're not going to sell this. This is honeysuckle, lovely foliage, really very pretty in a bouquet. That's not what I was talking about. I'm talking about this lovely, beautiful Canterbury bells. Make very good cut flowers. They will damage in the rain. They're quite brittle, so they'll fall flat in a heartbeat if it's wet, because the stems are heavy because they have so many flowers on them, but you get lovely long stems, lots of nice flower heads, and very attractive in bouquets. So if I were growing for sale, I would definitely consider the Canterbury bells. I grow them as a biennial. So if you're interested in biennials, join me at my biennial sewing workshop, which is coming up. You can book your place via my website. Next on the list, this is the lovely perennial. I love the way she's bent over. She's like, what's going on? Hello, who are you? Oh, I'm on the film. This is the perennial giant Scabia Cephalaria Gigantia. It uses quite a lot of space in a border because the leaves on the ground take up a lot of space, and you don't get huge amounts of flowers, but the bees love them, and that's a very nice soft lemon, I think, to use a lot in floristry. Also from my perennials border, the Sanguisorba, just beginning to flower there. You see the pink, again, very attractive in floristry, but possibly not enormously valuable if you're growing them to cut. Next, hilariously, this is my favourite allium. It grows hair. Can you see it's just beginning to grow its ridiculous hairdo? I have no idea what it's called, but if you look up alliums, you will see it quickly and amuse yourself with it. It seeds itself everywhere, so don't have it if you want to very, very much control the habit of your garden. Another good umbellifer, possibly better to sell. Wait a minute, I'm going to take... My bucket is a bit jammed up. This is not an umbellifer, obviously. This is a shrub. If I were growing flowers for sale, I would definitely consider growing Philadelphus. This is Philadelphus. If it's a Philadelphus, there are many Philadelphuses, mock orange. They flower for about a fortnight in early June. So mine are just coming out now, and they're worth a great deal to florists. So if you have the capital outlay for the plants, then grow Philadelphus and sell the stems for good profit. Here is a classic, very, very popular Geum, Tangerine Dream. I love a Geum. Look at that spot of orange. It's like the lick of orange on the back of a leaf in a de Gournay wallpaper. You think it doesn't go with this, but actually a lick of orange does a great deal in floristry. Here, look at our hilarious bouquet. This is just one stem of everything as we go. Another good umbellifer to grow. I'm going to get it out, whatever happens. My buckets are stuffed full. Right, is a wild carrot, Dorcas carota. Slightly stronger head than the Ami majus. Possibly travel better out of water, but still a good one to grow for your local florist if you're a local flower grower, because It's going to fill up a bit of space, give a good bit of laciness for the florist, and hopefully be worth a bit of money for you too. Another shrub worth growing. And no, I'm not spelling these out. You'll have to listen again. Sometimes people put comments on my YouTube clips and they think, thank you very much. Please could you type the whole list of everything you talk about? And so I apologise. There's a limited amount of time. And so while I'm very keen on you all, if you are uncertain what something is called or you struggle with my accent, for which I apologise, then just run back and you can listen again and I'll try and be as clear as I can. This is Physocarpus, also known as ninebug. And as you can see, it's flowering, and I would definitely grow Physocarpus to sell as a flowering stem, but also as it grows through the season. It's extremely useful foliage. Adding in another here, this is a stripy grass. Now there are many different kinds of stripy grass which you can grow in your border. I find it incredibly useful at this time of year because it has a wild look, but the stripiness gives it a cultivated look. It is a shocking bully, so do be careful of it. I have it in a contained area, it can't escape, which means that I won't have it all over the garden, but it is really, really useful. You should also be careful with your mint, that it can't escape. But if you're like me, a flower farmer growing in long strips, then they are contained by the mowing machine. This time of year and all through the summer, I have Nigella to cut. Love in a Mist, which I love for the flower, but I also love the seed head. It's very, very attractive. We are getting round here. More foliage. Never say no to a dead common, in a good way, variegated cornus. This has a boring yellow stem in the winter and very small variegated leaves in the summer. The size of the variegated leaves are useful because they're not too big in a floristry, and they don't wilt because they are smaller. Whereas if you get a big variegated cornus leaf, it's wilty because there's a large surface area for the water from which the water can transpire. Also cutting a great deal of astrantia at this time of year, which holds very nicely in flower crowns and buttonholes, as well as in bouquets. If you like another spike to grow, Clary Sage is very useful. It's an annual salvia hormonum. Good blue, but it comes in pink and white also. Moving on, of course, because I have a wild meadow and the look that my clients are coming to me for is a wild look, of course I have a buttercup. Because this has been stuffed in a bucket, it's dropping ahead. But I do love what a little dincy do of yellow will do to a bouquet. Look at this. There's just one of everything as it goes in. Very occasionally I'm putting another stem in just because it's in the way and I can't get rid of it. Also wild, very useful. Oxide Daisies. Again, don't grow if you're going to sell, because nobody's going to pay you a great deal of money for Oxide Daisies. If they do, fantastic. But I don't think cut Oxide Daisies is going to be worth any money. This, however, is very, very beautiful. Penstemon, again, dead common. I like it because it has a lot of movement in the stem. I like the flat red because in here, it really sings with all the green in there. I use a lot of it from now until the end of the summer. I have 6 plants from which, when it's in full flower, I can take 100 stems at a time. So I don't grow vast swathes of things. I grow a little bit because it's useful. I do grow a large variety. As you can see, most flower farmers would grow fewer. This is another useful foliage. This is Lysomachia Firecracker. I really keep it for its red foliage, but later on in the summer it has a tall yellow spike of flowers, which are very pretty. Keep going, more dark red foliage. This is what my mother calls New Zealand dock, Atriplex rubra. I was given a couple of plants by my friend Lara at Manor Farm Cottage Flowers some years ago, and it seeds itself around the garden every year, so I've never sown it again, but it is absolutely lovely, and it will have tall red spikes, very heavy seed heads, dramatic and useful. Look, here's our one of everything bouquet coming along nicely. What else have I got in my bucket that we haven't had yet? Oh yes, another lovely perennial. This is a Lychnis. It's called Bladder Campion. And it's a very pretty little white number. I'm not sure whether it would be valuable to sell. I mean, the thing is, flowers for sale are valuable because of this. Generally, people pay more for bigger weight. However, if you have a good relationship with your local florist and they're prepared to pay, you know, talk to your florist and ask them what they will pay for to help you grow. If you don't want to be the florist yourself, what will you grow for your florists, your nearby florists, that you can actually use to make a living from? Communication is key. This is another thistle, and its name is brain dead. Its name is something complicated. Anyway, the bees love it, and I love it too. I use it a great deal. It cuts very nicely, and the bees love it. It's always covered in bees. We've had some lavatra, but we'll tuck that one in there just because. I haven't even got to the roses yet. Here we have Phacelia. With this you have to sing. Phacelia, you're breaking my heart. This is often grown as a green manure. I started off growing it as a green manure, and then it flowered, and I realised it's got this lovely purpley flower, which I like very much, and the bees adore it. So again, it's one of those things that seeds itself around the garden. Chinese forget-me-not, look at that. And look at the stem length. Nice, isn't it? Very pretty. It comes in pink and blue, so we'll tuck you in there. And I haven't even done any roses yet. But it's quite a nice bouquet, isn't it? Yes, I'm getting there. This is a Persicaria bistorta. Lovely long stem, nice pink fluff at the top, probably not worth much to a florist. So I wouldn't bother growing it for sale, but I like it because I am a florist. Also, but this possibly better to sell to florists, all the Veronicas that flower. Here's a blue one, and I have the white one also, nice long stem. And in a minute we will have lots of the Veronicastrums, which have wonderful height, great seed heads, much beloved by bees, altogether extremely useful. This, I am cutting this quite hard at the moment. This is a dead nettle, very pretty dead nettle. So a dead nettle doesn't sting. It is growing tall because it's in long grass. If it didn't have any competition, it would be shorter. It's pretty, isn't it? I like that. Tuck that in there. Moving on. Most of this is one of each variety. Let's have, at last but not least, oh no, one more thing. So my biennials workshop is coming up, so book a place. This is another biennial. This is the last of the Sweet Rocket, which I have been cutting all spring. Very pretty. Comes in white and lilac. And let's go mad and have a rose. I have about 20 kinds of roses. Moving all my buckets up and down. Ow. I've got a hurty finger. It's very annoying. And so at last, but not least by any means, this is Gentle Hermione. And I counted up yesterday, I have about 20 kinds of roses here at Common Farm. all of which I love with a great passion. I also have a rose workshop coming up. Let's do something outrageous. Let's collar this bouquet, which has been made one stem of each kind of thing. I'm going to collar it with roses. And then I'm going to put it in a jug in my kitchen. And it's an extreme thing. Now, I have a thing that I love to encourage people to do, which is I encourage people to go into their gardens and cut 30 stems. So, well, obviously this is considerably more than 30 stems. I challenge you to go out into your garden this weekend and cut 30 stems. I promise you, you won't break the garden. The garden will be, it won't even show that you've been out there cutting. Cut 30 stems, take a pair of scissors, take a bucket with you, cut into the bucket and make yourself a posy to have on your kitchen table to give you great pleasure through the weekend. I'm just going to tie this up and then I'll show you. This is like extreme 30 stem challenge, but there's a hashtag 30 stem challenge, which particularly is quite busy on the old Instagram. So if you're on the gram, take a picture of your 30 stem challenge and post it and tag me, tag Common Farm Flowers, and I'll share some of them over the weekend on my stories. So here we have, I'm just going to cut the bottoms off and then I can put it down. So here we have a very lovely bouquet. I'll just hold it up so you can see. This is everything that's in my garden for cutting now. And I grow enough that at any one time I'll have at least 50 to cut. And that is what the flower farm at Common Farm Flowers, my most recent video that I posted a day or so ago, took you for a little walk around the garden. So you can see the space where I actually do it all. So do ping, just roll back and look at one more video if you'd like. Have a look if you're interested at all the British Flowers Week celebratory stuff that's going on this weekend. And I look forward to seeing all your 30 stem challenges. It is very good for your mental health to potter around the garden with a pair of snips. You don't have to have new wacky snips. Your kitchen scissors will do just as well, so long as you wash them before you start cooking with them. Take a vase with you. Take water with you, so you can cut into water so that they don't wilt. And tag me, Common Farm Flowers, and hashtag 30 stem challenge if you're doing some British, and maybe tag British Flowers Week too. If you're going to do this over the weekend. Thank you very much for watching. Please do buy me a coffee where the link is in all the blurbs for all the clips. If any of the tips and tricks I've given you along here have been useful, helpful, or you would like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. You can subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon and we'll tell you when we've got more clips coming out. Right, I feel much better having done this for half an hour. Since my whole clip from yesterday got lost on Instagram. I am less and less fond of Instagram, and I will admit, fonder and fonder of YouTube. Anyway, lovely. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.